put on your seatbelt. Let's go.
All right, turn up the music.
There's a killer on the loose. Look out, he's right behind you. He won't give me the eyes. I'm scared, but I'm fighting back. We are the Scream Queens, running through the night. We are the Scream Queens, gonna put up a fight, make everything alright. Floating through.
Welcome to Scream Queens Horror Road Trip Podcast. That is your final girl, Miss Justine, who gave us that scream and the intro song and credit song to Trolls, which is the movie we're covering today.
No, we're just covering
Troll. Yeah, Trolls is the animated movie, right? Well, we are on it's State Highway 81, heading
Highway.
to Wichita, Kansas. We're currently in Kansas on a blistery cold morning.
Are you blistered?
I'm blistered.
Like your cheeks?
Which one? And we are heading to Wichita to do some troll hunting.
Yes, we are in search of a art installation troll that we have a geolocation for. This is all real, this is real shit, guys.
He's hiding in like a sewer grate in the ground. We gotta go find him in Wichita.
We gotta go find him, release him, and then maybe strike a deal with him.
For some money or something?
Yeah, like,
You're like, do you have a
money?
pot? Do you have a pot of gold? He's like,
I'm
I'm not a
leprechaun.
fucking leprechaun.
Like, okay, well then, like, can I give you 3 different, like, things that I want? He's like, I'm not a genie. You know, I have wishes. So, what exactly is the benefit of you, troll? Like, coming upon you, happening upon you?
You're just magical little menaces.
Yeah, are you just like a destructive creature that's just here to take over the world and make it into a magical realm? Or are you here to help me and serve art? What is
I
that?
think in this case, both. But we'll tell you more about the author, the artist, and more about the installation
Yes.
in the second half. This first half, we're going to cover 1986 Troll.
Troll. No S. Just one troll.
But that troll is not the only magical creature. We have like weird nymphs and witches and
Yeah, and other
elves.
other types of elves and weird cocoon.
Well, that's how they're
kind of,
transformed.
yeah.
Into cocoon.
Cocoon
A
creations.
cocoon creation.
I'm cuckoo over cocoon creations. Okay, so it's directed by John Carl Buechler. Say that maybe one more time. Not
John
even
Carl
3
Buechler.
more
Bon
times.
Buechler, I guess.
In episode 96 of our podcast, we're talking about John Carl Buechler.
It's very German.
Yeah, and this movie is very European. It was filmed in Italy. Yet
Set
it is
in San Francisco.
it's got a setting. It's got a time and a place and a space, but it's not all in the same.
It definitely all feels like you're watching a sound studio. You know, it all shot on studio. Definitely not shot on location.
No.
Has that weird Italian disconnect with the audio and then like with the weird sets.
Yes, everything just feels a little out of place or off kilter. I do, though, love our collection of people, the cast of this movie. We have Sonny Bono.
June Lockhart.
We have an early Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and she doesn't want to talk about it.
She gets really horny in this movie.
Oh, wow.
She does.
So that's like, okay, she doesn't want to talk about it, and you want to point out that she gets...
Well, she's getting chased by trolls, and she's super horny. Of course she doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
I think her first role.
I think so. Hannah, her little cameo in Hannah and Her Sisters must have been, that was 87, I think, Hannah and Her Sisters.
Yeah, so.
This came out a year before.
This came out the year before.
And Woody Allen saw that, was like, I need her.
I think, yeah, what's really going to drive Hannah and Her Sisters home is having this girl here from Troll. Do you know about her? Go get it. Okay, so any other people to mention?
Atreyu from Neverending Story.
Yes. Noah Hathaway. Atreyu. Noah Hathaway. Isn't there another famous Hathaway? Anne Hathaway.
Oh, is that Anne's brother?
Is Noah Hathaway? Because, like, they kind of look alike.
They could pass. It's passable.
They could pass? They're passing Hathaways? Man, we're 5 minutes in and this has gone off the rails. We're talking about
passing as a Hathaway.
do you think that we could pass as a Hathaway? What would be the criteria for passing as a Hathaway?
My name's Reichert, but I pass as a Hathaway.
We're like distant relatives of the Hathaways.
And
from
Noah.
My mother's line.
Twice removed.
And a couple of marriages later. Okay, that's that's enough.
If you're still listening.
Okay, we're gonna get into this movie. We really are. We're gonna get into it. We know who the director is. We know that.
Oh, it's a Charles Band production, right?
Yes, yeah. It's a Charles Band production and an Anne Hathaway passing film. Yes, and Anne and June Lockhart, because there's a character who is played by two people, and they happen to be mother-daughter.
And one is like the younger version. She transforms herself into a younger version.
Yes, and
Al
it's
Pop's
actually
June Lockhart's daughter.
It's actually the younger daughter who they cast the older. The mother is the daughter, and the daughter is the mother.
Oh wow, because
it's really
June Lockhart serves in this movie. She's like, yeah, I'm here to play.
I am here to play all day. And she lets her hair down, and
man.
in the little tendrils just like fall down. She whips around. She's like, "Here I am, Torok!" And she's shaking her titties, and all of a sudden it just goes into another direction.
Yeah.
About an hour and 7 minutes.
There may or may not be pubic hair. There's not.
Definitely pubic hair.
Those trolls are hairy.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it, because I think we've lost everyone.
Okay, we start with a family that's arriving in San Francisco, moving into their new
actually,
apartment.
we open to a castle.
Oh, that's true. And we see
and there's a book, and the book opens, and it's a fairy tale, like kingdom. It's medieval times.
That's right.
And then the camera pans into a forest, and then the forest leads us into kind of like modern times, and we see a moving van with a family walking up their new apartment complex steps.
It's San Francisco, the least convincing San Francisco you've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, it leaves a lot. It could have been anything. Like it could have just been fill in the blank. This is this city USA. Yeah. How it was all set up, but they definitely tried. Because they tried to, like, make it look like there was, like, steps that you had to, like, walk up. You know how, like, San Francisco's all hilly.
A weird matte painting where the huge Golden Gate Bridge is right behind their, house, apartment.
Like, there's no obstruction of view. It's just their house and then the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, where did they... And it's the most obvious, like, backdrop.
Yeah.
Added later.
So it's just, like, one of those, like, okay.
It's hilarious. You're like, where in San Francisco is that? Where you can have a house with... That
view
where the bridge is so big.
Yeah, whose apartment complex is giving this?
The whole background is the bridge.
Yes.
There's nothing else.
There's nothing. And having been to San Francisco before, I just know I've seen some stuff in the way.
Yeah.
The view just might get a little, distorted because there's other buildings in the way.
Even in 1987.
Even. Okay. Next, we dive into this family. We meet them. They're arriving, and it's a dad and a mom. We don't know their names yet, so no names. We're not going to spill any names yet. There's no names yet.
But he does become one of the greatest wizards of all time.
Yes. Okay, so there's no
Oh
names
my God,
yet.
Do you think it's really, this is like the post story and that's really Hermione?
It's like, this is like a full circle
yeah,
like
this
thing.
is them after Hogwarts. Because his name's Harry Potter, okay? We're just
Yeah,
going to
that's
say
what
it.
we're trying to not like say, but we just said.
Yeah.
We ruined it.
I
Dang
said
it. So the reveal later is going to be like nothing now. Thanks.
We'll just tell them later.
I guess we'll tell them.
We'll tell you
later.
again. Just pretend you forgot.
Well, okay, so Dad is telling Mom, and there's also a daughter who has like this long blonde hair. She's really serving Carol Ann.
She's
Okay?
actually pretty funny. Her performance cracks me up.
Yes. She's quite a little gem in this movie, but she does remind me of like Poltergeist Carol Ann.
Yeah,
Her
totally.
hair, even like
Her
just the
look.
wardrobe, the look. And we have Noah Hathaway who's playing the brother, and then there's a mom. She's also a blonde, kind of really giving me that just like, you know, mid 80s TV mom.
I like her too. She's funny, and she's not like, you know, your shrewish housewife. She seems to like be kind of having fun with her family.
Yes, she enjoys being a mom.
She laughs at her husband's stupid jokes.
And like when he's dancing for no good reason, and it doesn't serve the movie at all.
Well, the whole point is
well,
he
yeah,
didn't
he's
hear something.
right,
yeah.
but I'm just kind of like, okay, it could have just been loud music. We didn't have to see this like crazy ass dancing display, but we're gonna get there too.
The filmmakers thought it was artistic.
They sure did.
Buchler loves the dance sequence.
Buchler is a dance sequence. His whole life. Camera. What do I have here? Camera. Oh no, we've moved on from that. So yes, this family is like, yay, we're so excited, we're moving in. Yay for San Francisco. Oh, you know what? I think I saw. The dad calls it rat burger, and I get that it's just kind of like a nasty way of referring to like greasy burgers and
Yeah.
maybe just like dive places and stuff to pick up burgers.
And they're all like,
but,
ew, rat burgers.
rat burgers. But he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go get us like some burgers, some food for dinner.
And the mom has one of the weirdest line readings right here where she's like loud. She's like, I wish you wouldn't call them rat burgers in front of the children. Like, it's just so awkward.
It's one of those moments where you really pick up on the disconnect of the Italian way of dubbing over
yeah,
the
I'm pretty
voices.
convinced they re-recorded all the voices later like they usually did.
It
but-
looks like it. There's
Yeah.
moments where you can tell that they like filmed and they got it like in real time
Yeah.
and it's synced up. But there's other times where there's just a slight off, and it adds this like airy quality to maybe a dreaminess to it that you're kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe we're in a fantasy, or we're in this world adjacent. This is a San Francisco adjacent. This is not what I know San Francisco.
And I will say the filmmaker does a good job of establishing like the family's dynamic like right away with them going up the stairs and the mom laughing at the dad being
Yeah.
funny, and the kids are already kind of being bratty to each other. Like he is asked to watch his sister and he's unhappy about it.
Yeah, even almost slips and curses. You can tell they're just like a normal family. They're not trying to pass off as like, oh, we're just so earnest and sweet.
They're not
and
Hathaway passing.
they're not Hathaway passing. They're just, what Potter passing.
They're Potter passing.
Passing is going to be
And the dad could be Harry Potter later in life. He
Yes,
has
the look,
glasses.
yeah.
And I can't think of the actor's name, but this movie is full of like TV
Michael
veterans.
Moriarty, I think.
Michael Moriarty, yeah, he's been in a lot of TV. June Lockhart was on a lot of classic TV. Even the Noah Hathaway was in the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
A lot of really good TV actors and stuff in this.
And you can tell that TV acting and then film acting is just slightly different, and there's a certain drama that you bring to TV acting, and you can see it.
This movie has like a TV feel to
Yes.
it. Like even with the interior sets, you can tell are all soundstage. They could be a sitcom set.
This could be
almost.
like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like it really could. It might, if we, because this movie is, considered more of like a cult kind of like classic, or it
Yeah.
has some, cult acclaim to it, because it does have a certain caliber of actors, and just it isn't your more what we think of like B movies.
Right.
There is a certain degree.
There's a charm to this
Yeah.
movie, at least. I can see why it's, a cult classic, why people still visit this movie. And it's very lighthearted, a lot of fun. Like, first time I watched it a few weeks ago, I really enjoyed it, even though, it's not a great movie. It's not particularly, like, well made, but it has a charm to it. You can tell they were trying with something. There's a creativeness to it. Doesn't always work, but
No.
they're trying things. At least it wasn't just another 80s slasher.
No, there's a certain amount
But I
of
love a
world
slasher.
building that's happening here, and yeah, if we made it today, and if we maybe had it as like a limited series, I think it could pass way, like it could go way further.
Especially with the kind of campy, cheesy, medieval elements. I
Yeah.
actually really like that. I respond well to that. Like, there's like a fantasy quality to it that's really fun.
And I think being like a millennial, a child of, I was a child of the 90s, but growing up, you'd watch like Neverending Story, you'd watch Labyrinth, and
Yeah.
all of these movies that were maybe not even necessarily set in a medieval time, but in like a fantastical kind of like time.
Fantasy
And,
world. It's
and-
like almost its own. Well, obviously its own genre, but like timeline.
yeah.
It's like just the fantasy medieval timeline.
And
that,
it
like,
sometimes grabs and borrows from it, but it's also,
It's like the same era that Lord of the
Witches and-
Rings, Game of Thrones. They're all
Yes.
different worlds, but they all kind of share the same quality and aesthetic, and it's just like that fantasy time.
everybody has an English accent, it seems, in
Yeah.
those worlds. Okay, wow, we digress. But okay, so Dad goes to get burgers,
Rat
and
burgers!
Mom's like, all right, watch your sister, or play with your sister. He's like, no, I'm not about to do that. Phaser's on dull, because he's like all about like Star
Yeah,
Trek.
Phaser's
and
a dull mom.
so he's like, I am not about to watch my sister. And sister's like, well, I'm gonna like peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold,
Peas porridge in a pot, 9 days old.
all the way into this like little laundry area, basement laundry area of the apartment complex. It's not a new apartment. I keep wanting to call it the new apartment complex, and it isn't a new
It's new to them,
establishment.
Justine.
It's their new apartment. But
It's new to them.
she takes this like bouncy ball.
Yeah, and
And-
she's just like so awkwardly playing with like peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold.
Peas porridge in your pot, 9 days
Did you
old.
say virgin pot?
What? Peas porridge in your pot?
Oh, what? Oh, what-
Virgin pot?
That's what it sounded like. I was like, what are
I'm
you
not
talking about here?
looking at any virgin. Anyways, yeah, so she's like just strangely playing, I don't know, but just idling her time. But we are seeing her from the perspective, this point of view of something that's huffing and puffing. It's, like that's what we hear is just like this rasping, drawing breath that.
And then out of the shadows runs just like a little figure. You don't really see him yet.
No, we see a
You
shadow.
see a shadow grab Carol Ann.
And then we see
Heard
kind
it.
of like a hairy arm with some fingernails, and but brother is trying to come look for her at this point. And
And he's like, "You play with dead cats again?"
that is so strange. That's
like,
the
again.
strange in this movie. A very
Again?
strange line.
Well, the line.
yes.
Yeah, it's like, again?
Are
Or
you playing with dead
Yeah, he
cats?
doesn't actually say again, but it implies like, well, has she done this before?
Yeah, like,
is
why
it-
would you have even asked that to begin with? I don't lead with that
Well-
when I walk in and I'm like, hey, Josh, what are you up to? You playing with dead cats?
And we haven't seen a cat, haven't seen a dead one or a live one, so...
No. We've
What-
only talked about rat burgers.
Did she already have issues?
I'm starting to think that she's a serial killer.
Carol Ann, not Carol Ann.
Yeah, Carol Ann, not Carol Ann. Okay, so we find out, though, he's, like, yelled her name. We find out her name is Wendy. It's so interesting how the names are revealed, but whatever. So we find
Wendy.
out that her name is Wendy, and then she fiddles with this ring on her finger, and we're made to believe that like the troll has transformed into her, but is the troll.
Yes.
And is containing her in this emerald green ring.
Yeah, and the emerald green ring has like this little emerald green ring. Say that again. We're just coming up with a lot of those.
Emerald green ring, emerald green ring, emerald green ring. Oh yeah.
But it has like this weird wire sticking out of it that shines all like green and attack.
Yeah, this is where kind
shoots
of like
out on the people.
Early CGI special effect of magic, like being kind of like sparkled onto the screen. I could have lived without those effects.
Yeah.
But
They couldn't.
They couldn't. They put them in there.
They're like, someone's got to do something. We need an effect.
And so anyways, yeah, so he's like, okay, well, come on, because Dad's back with like the rat burgers. They refuse at this point to call them anything but rat burgers.
Yeah, and the little troll Wendy loves it. She will not stop saying rat burger. She's running around like, rat burger!
Rat burger! She eats this burger. She's all like, what is it? But it's because she's the troll, so... And I don't get it either, because here they are, they've
It does look like a
obviously
disgusting burger.
Yeah,
No.
it's called The Works, and it's got like every bit of whatever the bar is,
All the veggies look limp and old. It's gross.
gross.
I would not eat that rat burger.
No, and then she just like scarfs it down, and she's like, more works! More works! More works!
Rat burger!
Rat burger! She's insanity. She's running all over the house, just making a mess. And she runs out. Her brother's running after her. We still don't know the parent's name or brother's name. Runs after her, and then she pulls the fire alarm. And this is kind of how we get our introduction of characters. Is everybody starts popping out of their apartment.
We're gonna meet everybody. Gets the fire alarm turns off, and they're all gonna congregate in the hall, and we're gonna meet them.
And we're gonna meet him.
It's gonna be a little meet and greet in the hallway.
First up, we meet the horniest Bono I've ever have met.
Sonny Bono, as we said, is in this movie. He plays the horny neighbor who's like, I'm into swinging. When your kids pull the fire alarm, I might lose out on some pussy.
It's so gross. He does not say that word, by the way. He's like, I'm single, unattached, and I love to swing. And your kids are going to be loud and scare off my dates. You better not, that better not happen, or I'm going to bring my wiener down here and slap you on your cheeks.
And then Harry Potter's like, well, I'm Harry Potter, and this is my son, Harry Potter Jr.
And this is my wife, Anne Potter. Anne Hathaway Potter.
Hermione Granger.
Hermione, Anne Hathaway, Potter Granger.
Yeah, why is Hermione the only one that changed her name? Why didn't Harry Potter, when they moved to America, change his name?
Oh, I love how this is it. Yeah.
It's the sequel to the Harry Potter series.
Yeah, I don't really know how we've tried to make it both the prequel and they're growing,
I'm using the wrong term. I keep saying prequel only because it came out years earlier, but it's actually the sequel. It just came out first. The whole Harry Potter series is the prequel to Troll.
Oh, dang.
That's what it is. We figured it out.
That's mastermind shit.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Buechler had a vision. He teamed it up with...
Years later with J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Somehow they tag teamed that. Okay. So we meet Sonny Bono, but his name in the movie is Mr. Dickinson. So horny Mr. Dickinson.
He loves to put his dicks in
somebody. Next we meet Marine Tabor, the Duke, as he nicknamed himself.
And he's in your total 80s workout get-up with the headband. He's got his headphones on. He's doing like fast feet, running in place. And he's like, people call me the Duke because I look like John Wayne.
Does it look like John Wayne? He does not look like John Wayne.
Nothing like John Wayne.
Not at all. But he has convinced everybody in the complex to call him Duke. So
they respect him.
There's that. Yeah. He said, I want to be called this, and they were like, okay.
Yeah,
no fuss.
Yeah.
Then we meet Will. Oh, wait, and one more thing about the Duke is the Duke doesn't read. He thinks that's for pussies.
And communists.
And communists and Democrats.
He refers to someone else that lives in the complex later as, he reads the newspaper. As like
Yes.
that's a bad thing.
And that's like, yeah, and it's all run by people that are controlling or trying to talk bad about the president.
Yeah, they're all communists that only talk badly about the president.
So next up we have Will and Jeanette Cooper, and I don't remember what Will's last name is, but Will is Jeanette's boyfriend.
Jeanette is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
And she is just running. They're all running down the steps because the fire alarm has gone off. And last, but certainly not least, actually, I mean, the icon of this movie
Is Eunice St. Clair.
Eunice St. Clair.
Eunice St. Clair.
Wow. And she comes down in her shawl, and her hair is pinned up like the queen that she is. Just, she's so tidy and in place, but also so impeccably witty.
And she's pissed off right now because the fire alarm's going off. The fire department's right outside her window, and she's going to go outside and tell them that it's just a false alarm.
Yeah, because she walks out and everybody's like, "Oh no, it's nothing. It's just a false alarm. The kids pulled the alarm." She's like, "Okay, can someone please?
Tell.
Can someone?" And by someone, I guess I mean me.
I'll go tell them myself.
So we.
She's like, I'm a queen, but no one's listening to my command.
Right? Like, she's obviously needs to get a better hold on her realm. I'll say that. So, Harry Potter goes back into his apartment, and Wendy is tearing it up. She is looking for more rat burgers. And Harry Potter Jr. is, like, freaked out. He looks like... There's this, like, zoom in to him. And he is like shaking and his lips are all like quivering as he's watching her just act like a shrilly.
He knows something's up. His sister is not acting like herself, so he runs to Eunice St. Clair's house, right?
Well, the next morning he's assaulted in the kitchen by his sister. She like throws him up against a wall door unit.
And then when his parents are like, "What's going on in there?" He's like, "Nothing, Mom." Or "Dad, I just tripped."
Like,
I would be like, "My fucking sister just threw me against the wall, Dad!"
She used her superhuman strength and hurled me across the room.
Dad, she threw me across the wall, across the room.
And I
hit
guess,
the wall.
like, in his defense, like, would your parents have believed you if they walked in and you're, like, laying on the ground? Like, she lifted me up off the ground. No, probably not. So, I get it, but also...
What
that
gives?
that was just foolish. Okay, so he decides that he's gonna just kind of like run off and be by himself for a little bit, try to figure things out. And Mr. Dickinson is upstairs on his floor.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of just acting like a total douchebag to this lady that had obviously spent the evening with him, and
She seems full of regrets as she's quickly putting her clothes on.
Yeah, maybe the drinks from last night had him looking a little different than the sober feeling of the morning. And so he's like, do you want some breakfast? And she's like, sure. And he says, all right, well, there's waffle mix or pancake mix in the kitchen. Why don't you make us some?
And she's like, you bastard.
And he's like making these like weird, like winky faces at her.
Like, what's he gonna do? Put the pancake batter on her nipples or something?
Ew.
Fry them up?
See, to me, pancake batter doesn't sound like it would taste yummy pre-pancake.
Pancake batter is the sexiest.
I'm sorry. I'd be a little worried about your pH in your anussy. Okay, so basically she's like, all right, well, you can sit and spin, sir. And she kind of like kicks him off of her and she leaves the apartment, and Wendy is watching as she leaves like, oh, now's my chance. She knocks on the apartment door to Mr. Dickinson's apartment, and he's all like, oh, you haven't had enough, have you? He thinks it's that lady.
Yeah, but no, it's just Wendy, and she lets herself in, and that's the weird thing. She keeps going to people's apartments, and everyone's just cool with it. If some like little kid tried to come in my apartment, I'd be like, get out! What are you doing?
Every single person who she comes into contact with throughout this movie, they have no, like, there's no qualms about her coming in. It doesn't matter what they're doing. She just waltzes right in, and they're comfortable with it.
They're all like,
It's
come on in,
strange.
girl. Except for him, he's a little pissed off. He thinks some girl's going to come by anytime soon. He's like, I don't have any candy, and I don't have any toys.
Yeah, so stop playing with me. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm about to play hide and seek. And so she starts playing hide and seek in, like, around the couches in his bar area. But I think it's just, in an attempt to get him into a position where when he turns around, she is no longer herself. She is the troll.
Troll. And I gotta say, the troll face is really well done. Some of the body and like you've pointed out to me before, the feet look really
there's
rubbery and
no grip to a lot of, like, the the hands and the toes.
you
like
can see a zipper at one point.
And that, I know, faux pas, sure, but I like the look of the troll.
Yeah, the design's really cool. I
But-
like it.
Yeah, there's definitely, of course, now that troll would look completely different.
Right, it would be all
and it would-
CGI now,
yeah.
and it wouldn't be as
Or,
tactile or
like,
realistic as this troll could be. But you know what I mean? Like, it seems tangible. Like, oh, that's
Yeah,
a real thing being filmed.
it would
not-
totally be just like some guy standing there with dots all over his face, and later it would be imposed.
Yeah, it looked completely unreal.
But that's just us chatting about what we think would happen if
But
it was made today's time.
That troll gets Sonny Bono with the ring.
And this is like a fun, actually, this is where it's done well, where the special effects are done well. They make this cocoon thing happen where the troll points his ring at Mr. Dickinson, and then he, like, becomes almost like a chrysalis.
Yeah,
like
it's a really cool transformation scene. You could tell that they had seen American Werewolf in London. We're like, we're doing that in this
Yeah.
movie.
Had The Fly come out yet?
Maybe 86. It's around the same time. But no, it's a really fun transformation scene. Instead of a werewolf, obviously, he turns
Yeah.
into a cocoon, and the cocoon
He was
cracks, or a chrysalis of some sort.
Yeah, he was then broke out of the cocoon, and it's these little figures or creatures, fairy creatures, but they're not trolls, but they're, I don't know,
Itty bitty
kind of
trolls.
like little minions and
Yeah, little gremlins.
little
almost.
gremlins, yeah. And so we now have this apartment that's slow, like the cocoon is also starting to have, like, little pieces of ivy and other, like, trailing plants grow out of it and take over the apartment, and it gets really forested and woodsy. A little fairyland basically has taken over in this apartment complex, or in this room, in this apartment, in that one. And then she walks out, and it's just like regular hallway, and
We're back to
So-
just the not San Francisco
Yeah.
apartment building.
not San Francisco. Harry Potter Harry Potter Jr. I'm gonna call him HP Jr.
HPV.
HPV Jr. Harry Potter Jr. like finally makes it up to. I imagine that, like, Eunice's apartment is on the top floor.
Yeah,
and
she
he's-
sees up there.
she's at the top of her castle tower, and he makes it up there, and she is, like, talking to what we see is an animated, like, mushroom, and
Looks like a penis, like a big,
It does
fat, ugly penis.
look like a phallic. Yeah, it's definitely a talking penis, but we outright know she is way more than what she's claiming to be
Yeah.
to her neighbors. She's talking to some kind of animated mushroom, and she covers the talking mushroom up with, like, a lampshade, and then goes to the door, and there's Harry Potter Jr., and he's all like, can I come in? I'm about to hurl.
And this is like one of their first meetings. She's like, okay.
Yeah, again, the kids just get to come in,
Yeah.
like, just dominate whatever space.
She says something sassy, lets him in, and then when he comes out of the bathroom, she's like, so did you pop your cookies?
That is
I hate
the
it.
strangest
I hate it.
phrase for, did you just throw up in my bathroom?
Did Did you pop your
Did
cookies?
you pop your cookies?
Almost sounds like the male version of like pop your cherry.
Yeah, or yeah. Did
He
you
popped
pop?
his cookies.
He popped his cookie. Like, I don't know. That kind of sounds unsafe. Like, I don't know. I don't like it, and I don't like that she says it, but she does.
I'm like, can
and
you just say hurl?
he's
or
like,
cute?
I'm freaking out. I almost hurled in your bathroom, but I didn't. She's like, you're sounding like a ninny.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why? She gets to be on a roll, but at first I'm kind of like, a couple of the things she says are a little off-putting. Like, what, you're a ninny? He's just trying to open up to you,
Are
man.
you being homophobic?
Yeah, that is like not okay. But he admits that he's scared that he just moved here and things are happening in the whole complex and his sister's just acting off. And Eunice is like, it's all right. You can come up here. This can be your hideout. You're always welcome. But
Just
no.
knock. The door's always open. And we
Knock.
get like this funny like Hallmark Channel music almost. You know what I mean? There's lots of like little bells. And it's really sweet for a
It's
minute.
just, oh goodness. But we know we're onto something because
Something's got to do something.
she's picking up on what he is throwing down, and she's not willing to tell him just quite yet. She's not popping her cookies. So Wendy
Or her puss. Pop that
is
pussy like
wandering.
this.
She's popped that pussy like this. Okay. Wendy is walking in traffic like you do when you're Carol Ann, not Carol Ann. And she's saved by a neighbor who introduces themselves and is a little person. And she's like, are you an elf? And he's like, no, my name's Malcolm Mallory, and I live in the apartment complex,
He's
and
like-
I'm a professor.
He's like, why? Do you believe in elves? And she's like, yeah. He's like, well, maybe I am an elf then.
And she's like, okay, cool, brother elf. Like,
Yeah.
it just goes that direction
Because
real
she's really a
fast.
troll. She knows
Yeah.
about elves, and she thinks here's one that's in this world.
She's like, oh, you look like my friend an elf that's in my world.
And he invites her back to his apartment.
And she invites him to dinner.
Yes.
And so he is like, sure, yeah, I'll come to your dinner. And Harry Potter Jr. is sent to the grocery store for this dinner by Mom. Mom's like, here, I'm making this cake. And by making, I'm just taking this empty mixing bowl and this spoon and acting like there's stuff inside it for me to mix around.
And it almost looks like glue, not batter. Like Elmer's glue or
Yeah.
something. And she's just gingerly stirring
It looks like white paint.
I'm like, this lady has never made a cake in her life, if that's how she thinks you
And if
stir
so,
it.
she's overworking that Genoese sponge like no one's fucking business. And I'm
Hasn't
not
she
about
seen
it.
the British Great
No,
British
she
Bake
hasn't. She has
baking
not
show?
seen any of the collections.
Rude.
Rude!
Get a Netflix account.
Mr. Duke. Okay, so Harry Potter Jr. goes to this grocery store, and Wendy is like looking in the window. She sees Mr. Duke, is like arriving home and stuff. So she wants to check him out. And Harry Potter Sr. decides to drop the beat on one of his records. He just moved in. He just wants to relax. He's been working all day. He's been working all night. He's just trying to make that dollar.
Make it holla.
And so he turns on Summertime Blues, and then we get...
The weirdest cover of Summertime Blues.
Yes,
too.
it is not the original cut of Summertime Blues. This is just somebody's cover, and then we have...
It's almost like the step above, like a Kid Bop's version of
Yeah, it's like a
that
Teen
song.
Bops version. And we see him in this like red sweater and khaki pants perform an air guitar performance that I deduce means he's never seen anyone
Where did you deduce?
play the
Oh.
guitar ever in his life. He's never seen anyone perform
He's never
a guitar because
I
he
don't think
does
he's-
not know how to strum
I don't think he's seen
air
a
guitar
guitar.
strum. No, he has never seen a guitar. He's barely even heard it. He doesn't know how to place it in the encyclopedia
He's
of like
just having fun. Don't
instruments.
yuck his yum.
I'm not yucking his yum because I also love to jam out to a cover of a song like anybody else, but I know how to air guitar.
Yeah.
And I have played Guitar Hero.
Well, you sound really privileged right now.
I certainly am, sitting in my guitar privilege. But it is the poorest display of guitar knowledge.
Yeah, it's bad. Mom looks so unamused, too.
She's just like, all right, I'm going to leave you here.
She's like,
I'm not
"God,
disturbing
I
that."
Let this guy put it in me.
Twice.
Yeah,
At least twice. At least. At least.
At least.
So we get Wendy, and she creeps into, not really creeps in, she just like knocks on the door, and Mr. Duke is like, oh, hey there, kid. And she just waltzes in, sits on his pool table,
And they're all just cool with it for a little bit. You know, they're cool with the initial, yeah, come on in, just hang out, little kid, in my place.
Yeah, he's trying to impress her and be like, yeah, come on in. Your Uncle Duke can give you advice on anything. And she's like, oh, yeah? Tell me about what death is like.
What does death look like?
Yeah.
What it looks like.
It looks like what? I'm sorry. I'm actually faking being in the military. I just picked up all of these clothes at like the Army surplus store.
Yeah.
That's like how it comes off to me, that he's never actually served, but whatever. He's freaked out by her asking that question, like, what does death look like? And then he says, like, well, I don't know. What does it look like? And she slings him around the room, like, and has this, she starts to not sound like herself, and
Yeah.
sound like a man. She's like,
It looks like this.
And then she becomes the troll, and the troll is attacking him
With that ring, with that really good special effect.
and folding a shotgun into a nice little bow. It's like this weird cartoon moment where
Yeah.
the troll takes this shotgun and kind of folds it up so it can't go off, and
He
then,
gets cocooned.
yeah, and then he gets cocooned. This movie isn't really terrifying or
No,
or
there's nothing scary
horrific,
about it
and
all. It's just,
It's
you can tell they were going for like some level of humor, that they maybe weren't necessarily going for thrills and chills. It's just almost like you were saying earlier, maybe this is like Charles Band and trying to do like a Labyrinth or like a fantasy movie, but
Yeah.
on a budget.
the horror elements, I think, come from just this idea of it.
The
It's like
troll
a
taking over.
yeah, like the troll taking over. It's kind of like a slasher where he's taking out a victim one by one, or even more Jalo, like.
Mhm.
The
So
attacks
there's no
are from the
mystery.
point of view of, yeah, just, but like the attacks are from the point of view, you see the hand
Yeah.
and things like that, where that's kind of more where it goes into the horror genre, but it's not scary by any means. But there are scenes that if you were a child watching this, I could see this could be kinder horror. And
Yeah, it would be really good gateway horror. I didn't look at the rating, but I have a feeling it was PG-13.
I would imagine, and it came out 86, so
Yeah, I think PG-13 had just been created around that
it
time.
would definitely have gotten that rating now.
Yeah, maybe
but-
even PG if they left out some of the curse words.
So Harry Potter Jr. catches Wendy coming out of the Duke's apartment complex after it's completely overrun. Kind of the same thing happens that happened in Mr. Dickinson's apartment. The whole place is overrun with shrubbery, and they're turned into a little collection of gremlins, or little goblins.
And he kind of tries to confront Wendy, but she zaps him with the thing. She doesn't cocoon him.
No.
Cocoon him. Just makes him pass out, and she runs in and is like, Dad, Harry fell.
Is
and now
out
he
there.
won't wake up.
Oh no! And she grabs clutches her breast, and
You're
and
talking
then
about prepubescent. How dare you?
and then falls down into a mess of tears, and then wails, "Red baggers! Red baggers!"
So Dad runs out and saves Harry Jr. By saving him, just like brings him
Picks
back
him
into
up,
the room.
yeah. And we have him getting all tucked in, and he's watching these old black and white, B horror movies of like pod people, while his parents are preparing dinner for
Malcolm,
and they think that this is Wendy's new friend, but they're under a false impression of who Malcolm is.
They think Malcolm's going to be a child.
Yeah.
They even have chocolate milk ready for him, and he comes in and he's like, I'll take a gin and tonic.
Yeah, and they both have like a moment of just being taken aback by, their daughter didn't share, like, that Malcolm was an adult and that Malcolm was a little person, and so there's this confusing moment, and Wendy is like, no, come on, let's go sit down at the dinner table because I want you to tell me the story of the Fairy Queen.
And Mom's so offensive. She's like, oh, you're, and he's like, an English professor.
Yes.
You hateful bitch. No, she's
I'm
sweet.
an English professor, ma'am, and I'd like a gin and tonic, and for you to shut the fuck up and make me a meal. That's what he says. So they're sitting down eating this wonderful dinner, and Wendy's like, tell me, I want you to recite this old tale, the Fairy Queen, and everybody at the table knows this tale.
Dad's like, whoa, that's heady stuff, kiddo. Like, they're all excited. She's like, I've been asking Malcolm to recite this epic poem to me. Because she knows about poems and, epic poems at that. But it's really, I think, it's the troll wanting this kind of like... story to be told.
Yes, the story, and then maybe the lore, and just this, bringing it into the zeitgeist.
It's going to activate something.
Manifesting
somewhat does.
it.
Like, all the creatures that have already been born throughout the apartment almost get like stimulated.
Yes,
by
they
the
start
story.
singing in this like Latin chorus. We don't know what they're saying, and
even
it might
just be a
not be.
fake-ass
I'm like,
language,
it
too.
doesn't necessarily mean it's Latin. I'm just saying, like, it's not in English, and it's like. That's it right there. That's the song. Eunice is in her apartment, and she can hear the singing and can hear the voices from the other apartments, and it kind of stirs her into
blowing a horn.
Blowing a horn and looking at pictures of like herself and another figure.
And she gives off this, like, I gotta go blow this horn and scare these little critters.
Yeah.
Because she blows it, and then she's all like, yeah, I wonder what you think about that.
I blew a horn. Now, what do you think about that? Now you know how I feel.
When you blow my horn, oh, it's for real, oh, it's for real.
Let me get this microphone really up in your face. Okay, so she blows a horn, and it scares them off, and the next morning, Wendy displays like more microaggressions in the kitchen by like nearly like pouring all of the juice on the floor and pissing her parents off.
Nearly burning her brother's arm.
Well, that's not yet.
That's not yet.
No.
Well, she's gonna do it.
I'm like, calm down. That hasn't happened yet. So after the juice incident in the kitchen, there's just more character flaws. There's red flags that are happening. So Harry Potter Jr. runs up to see Eunice, and they talk about like that Wendy isn't acting right, and really, Eunice, tell me about yourself because I think you're a witch.
She's like,
and she's
look at all this shit in your house. You got to be a witch. You're witchy.
She's like, okay, well, maybe I am, and then maybe I'm also a princess, and maybe like this is the story of me, and this is my mushroom friend Galwin, and he used to teach me all of my magic, and
I turned him into a big giant penis, and Galwin her. He's like,
yeah, you can't really understand.
And
it's
you know what? If
indiscernible.
my penis can talk, I hope it does not sound like that.
Okay. I want to immediately get off topic of your
Okay.
penis. Like, we shouldn't have ever gone there.
Well, I don't have one. So.
You don't? You're
I've
a
got
eunuch?
I've got all the genitals.
You have all the
to quote the Barbie
gentle genitals?
movie. Just the gentle ones.
Oh my goodness. So, tell me more about your gentle genitals. So Eunice, like, yeah, I was going to marry this man called Torok, and we were fairy people, and then there was this war between humans and fairies because Torok wanted to, have more power than he should, but the humans won, so Torok became a troll, and I was like, I ain't marrying you now. So Eunice came into this human world and has been disguising herself here at this apartment complex to
As
try
a
to
beautiful elderly woman.
yeah, to try to hide from Torok, but little did she know that I guess Torok was just down there in the laundry room. Hidden.
He had entrance from another realm where somehow a door opened up in her laundry room.
And he's using that doorway to create this fairy world again, and connecting it by all these apartment complexes and transforming these humans into fairy creatures so they can take over the apartment complex and eventually the world.
That's right.
That's
He's
it.
a man with a plan.
And Wendy is just acting on Torok's behalf because she's really in this fairy world somewhere, and you're going to have to find her somewhere.
But he's up to the challenge.
And so next we get Malcolm coming home, but he can't find his keys, so he's stuck at the door. And Wendy
She's like, I'll help you.
Oh wait, no, sorry. First off, we have Wendy going to the ladies, Julie Louise, Jeanette. So first she goes there.
She's starting to make the rounds again. She goes by Jeanette's. Jeanette just lets her on in and is like, hang out while I get ready for some auditions and stuff. But no, she's going to attack her and cocoon Jeanette.
And we see Jeanette born out as like a nymph. She's got limited coverage on her nipples.
She's got shrubbery all over and she's horny.
She has shrubbery in the areas that she specifically needs to have some shrubbery. I would say in like the provincial areas.
Yeah, her titties and her...
The private sectors.
I just couldn't say pussy again. I was like...
You just said it, though.
Oh. Well...
Ow. Oh, God. Yeah, so... She gets turned into some kind of like tree nymph, and she's just chasing her boyfriend all around the forest area to turn him into a little gremlin for
she's
Torok.
like multiplying too.
Yeah, she gets to be multiple. What's her name? Jeanette. Multiple Jeanettes. So Wendy is actually walking out of Jeanette's apartment, and then she happens on Malcolm, and he's like, I can't get into my apartment, I can't find my keys. She's like, you silly little bitch, it's not even locked. And she spanks his ass, and they go in, and
she's all like, Malcolm, you seem very content in this world.
Yeah,
or you seem at peace with your surroundings.
Yeah, you seem at peace with the people that are surrounding your world.
He's like, what? She's like, no, I just said neat.
I just said your place is neat. And you're
dying, right?
Yeah, like, you're gonna tell me about how you're dying, right? And
he's
then
like,
he goes into this like
really generic like cancer diagnosis or something.
Well, yeah, exactly, like just a Hallmark greeting card reading of like, I found out that I have cancer.
Without saying cancer. It's like, the x-rays show a lot of stuff with my...
icky stuff.
Yeah, it's obviously like some kind
Big
of leukemia
words.
Or something, but... She's like, have you ever really wanted to be an elf? He's like, yes, when I was a kid I dreamed of a land of unicorns and fairies. And she's like, alright bitch, I'm turning you into an elf.
And she like hides behind this
chair. She loves Malcolm. She feels like a kinship with Malcolm because he's little.
Yeah, so she actually makes him into an elf too. Like, she doesn't make the others. They're more like you said, gremlins, goblins. But she makes him into an elf, and it's like, brother elf.
It's basically like a really teeny tiny version of him.
Yes, but looks so much
the
like
face
Malcolm.
Is really
That's like
on.
some of the best special effects or like just kind of practical effects that they've done is create these little creatures.
They definitely plastered Malcolm up and then shrunk it down or something.
And so he, in a way, she's like, or Torok is like, you get to live forever. Now you can be this elf in this, fairy creature land, and you don't have to worry about dying in this world. And probably, going through those like last painful stages. So Eunice starts searching the hallways, and she realizes that she's too late, that nearly all of the apartments have been taken over by Torok, and it's really just the Potters and her left. And really, it's just Harry Potter Jr. and her left to fight against Torok and all of his little goblins.
she's running around with like a spear, basically, and she's like, well, shit, I'm too late. So she goes upstairs, transforms herself into her beautiful daughter, aka herself when she's younger.
Yes, the actresses that play this character in real life are mother-daughter,
Yeah.
but in the movie they are just playing older, younger versions.
Both
of
beautiful
themselves.
ladies.
Yes. They're gorgeous. Icons! Hashtag icon.
Yeah,
hashtag
serving.
classic. Hashtag icon.
Slay.
Hashtag slay. Hashtag sliving. Hashtag sliving slay. What's the where are we at in my notes? The
She's
breakfast
young.
scene. The breakfast scene. So the breakfast scene happens, and Wendy lights the coffee on fire.
Yeah, and tries to burn up Anne Hathaway's younger brother.
Noah Hathaway passing. Harry Potter Jr. Like his arm is he's nearly got third-degree burns.
Nearly.
Nearly third degree.
Nearly the third.
And he almost has to walk around like Ramona from Real Housewives of New York Legacy with the little scarf around his wrist as his burns like heal from it's nothing, guys. His hand gets lit for just like a second. It's one of those like nothing's gonna happen to you when that happens. You know, like a flame just kind of bursts and it's like maybe his hair singed, but they all react as if they're like, get the burn ointment, go!
Yeah, holy shit, call 911.
It's too
but like
much.
he basically got singed a little bit, so it's pretty funny.
And he's like, oh my gosh, I've got to get the hell out of here. She's like ruining my life. And he runs off and he finds Eunice, and Eunice is like, it's up to us. Like she
It's
/
war.
Torok has taken over. There's not a single apartment that's left. It's me and you, kid. And by me and you, I mean it's going to be you, because I'm going to go into this world and immediately be taken down.
Yeah, she basically tells him Torok is going apartment by apartment, adding all of the special realms from their world, like the elf world, the fairy world,
the nymph world.
all of that, apartment room by apartment.
So
And
it's going to take over, and,
Yes.
and it's going to take over the world. So he's going to need to act quickly and go save his sister in the world.
That's right.
And so Eunice goes in to kind of ward off Torok, or distract Torok, so that brother Harry Potter can go in and save sister. But there is this humongous giant, like not troll, but giant bat.
And it's implied that it's
Winged.
also Torok, because she says
Yeah.
he'll turn into the biggest thing you see. And he's
But
big.
then he's also there.
Yeah.
So Eunice and Torok, though, have like a battle for a moment. Oh, she also tries to like calm the weather. That's like a funny little moment where
Yeah.
she's walking around and it's all windy. And she's like, okay, that's enough wind. And then the wind stops and Torok comes out and they have like this little tussle for a minute.
He turns her
And then
into a log.
Yeah, she becomes like this tree stump.
But not for long.
And then we have Harry Potter Jr., who has to battle this huge winged troll-like giant creature. But since it's just kind of like a destructive creature, it doesn't really care who it gets. And so it also tries to go after Wendy. But Turok needs Wendy because in their world they need like a human, a golden child or something. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
so
a part
it's
of
Wendy.
it's yeah, it's Wendy, but so Torok ends up actually saving Wendy. He has this moment of self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
And he throws the harpoon lance thing that they've been kind of carrying around that Eunice had, and it destroys the giant.
Yeah, and people on the outside world are seeing the giant, like seeing arms or like a tail flailing around over the building.
And they're seeing like the trees, the foliage is taking over the outside of the apartment complex. So there's a lot happening.
People are calling
in
the
this
police.
a climactic scene that we have here. And so goodness prevails, and Harry Potter Jr. and Wendy are able to escape just in time.
Escape just in time.
And their parents like open the door and they see this world that their kids are jumping from and all of the chaos that's happening, and they're like, what the what the hell?
What the?
Now, what the hell? And we get kind of this moment where they all kind of pack up and get into the car. They're like, fuck this shit, we are out. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. Pack our bags. The police have arrived. They're like, yeah, you can just get in your car and go. We don't want to ask you any questions. Just, no, they're like, go down the police station down the street.
They're like, we packed our bags in like 5 minutes or less, and we're out of here.
Out. But on the way out, Harry Potter Jr. sees Eunice, young Eunice, and she's like, oh, so you made it out alive. And so she's okay.
And,
Implying that maybe all of the apartment people are okay.
yeah, I feel like if she got turned back to normal, so did everyone else. But she was a powerful witch. Maybe it was just her.
And
what do you guys think?
yeah, you let us know in the comments. So that's kind of the end of the movie. The last scene is that the police officers, they go inside the apartment to kind of clear it, make sure the scene is safe, as they would say in our BLS CPR classes. Have you secured and is the scene safe? And
you go get the AED.
It
you
surely
call
is
911.
Because that police officer goes down into the laundry area and is again coaxed into the world of the fairy creature.
Yep, the portal's still there. That door opens. The forest is there, and he gets sucked.
He gets sucked in, and Torok attacks him, and then credit roll, the song. Yeah, we get that roll that beautiful bean footage moment, and our music. And now we have arrived. We're in
Wichita.
Downtown Wichita. I'm looking at this cute little quaint city here, and I cannot wait to...
We're going to go get some coffee, then we're going to go hunt that troll.
I'm going to go hunt a troll.
We'll be back in the second half to tell you all about our adventure, tell you about...
what we enjoyed, our favorite scenes.
Yeah, favorite scenes, knife ratings, so
What's
stick around.
What's up next? You better stick around.
We'll be right back after Bad Athlete.
Floating through another daydream. Something's moving in the sea. Wake up, I just wanna go home. I may be shaking inside. I'm not the kind to run and hide. Come out, I'll take you all on my own. I've got you figured out. Tough luck, you're in my world now. I have no doubt, I have no fear. I'm gonna make you disappear. We have a scream queen running through the night. We have a scream queen's gonna put up a fight, make everything alright.
And we're back.
Yay! What a wonderful morning, afternoon in Wichita, Kansas we just had.
I'm so stuffed. We just packed our faces full of doodah food. We'll get to that in a minute. We are traversing south on the same highways that we told you earlier. We're still in Kansas, just left Wichita. And we're ready to tell you all about it.
Yeah. Wichita is kind of like a sleepy little city on a Sunday. I'll tell you that much. There wasn't...
Not a lot of stores and shops open, which is okay. We hadn't planned on doing much. From where we live, it's only about a 2.5 hour drive. So we just came up, got here in the morning, had some coffee, ate some good lunch, went to a bookstore, went and saw a troll.
Yes.
Not in
And
that order,
Not in that
but-
order, yeah. Well, when we arrived, though, we really needed a good pick-me-up. We pulled into Reverie Roasters, and they're just kind of right up our alley, coffee-wise. I had an Americano. You had a regular drip.
Yeah, and it was good. Nice, dark, full-bodied coffee. And the best part was this ginger snap cookie we had. It was to die for, as some would say.
fun. It was so good, and it worked perfectly to, like, dip into my Americano.
Yeah, it had that perfect, like, snap of a ginger snap, but then there was, like, this gooey texture in the inside of it. Oh, it was so good and spicy.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
Like you said, perfect for a little coffee dip.
I picked up some beans as well, and then we decided, okay, we're good and juiced up, caffeinated. Let's go find this troll. Unsure of really, park and all that. Where are we going to park? Where are we walking? So, and it's like 14 degrees outside.
Yeah, as you can tell, you can probably hear it's very windy and cold here in Kansas today. But we bared the elements. We found decent parking. It was really easy to find. You can put it into your Google Maps and it will lead you right to it. It's on... You go to park at Veterans Park, and then you go into like their water walk. Is that what they call it?
Yes, the Wichita Water Walk. And that is where, if you just walk a short distance, I swear it was like 500 feet or, so from where we had parked. But there is the Keeper of the Plains, and that's the name, the title of the statue, the troll art installation there.
He's 7 foot tall. He is underground. He's looking up, reaching up at you. Unfortunately, because there was like a section of the grate that he's under was missing, they had it completely like fenced off. We could still see him. We just couldn't get good pictures for you guys.
It meant that like the chain link fence that they had blocking you for, from like getting into the installation meant that any picture you were trying to take would have, like that fence shine.
Yeah, I just couldn't get close enough to it either to get a good angle. But there were two vantage points. There's one from above, and then you kind of walk around, go down this hill, and you can come around the back of it, and you kind of see him standing and straddling this little area. His legs are outstretched, his arms are reaching up. It's silly, it's neat. It was built in 2007.
By Connie Ernat. She's a local artist. She and her husband, they're kind of big in the Wichita art scene community and have collaborated with some museums in the area. But they've been on the scene for a while now. Yeah, and the troll is known as the Keeper of the Plains. Guess he's there giving good luck, watching over the place, something like that is the idea. Well, it really was because they were wanting to kind of like revamp that area, and so they kind of created the Wichita Water Walk in efforts to beautify it.
Yeah. It's a neat, quirky little thing to go see. We had originally heard about an Atlas Obscura, and that's where we got the idea. We wanted to cover troll, and we're like, well, there we go. There's a troll about perfect. 2.5 hours from us.
Because we're probably not going to ever see a real live troll.
Yeah. And it's been several years since we've been to Kansas for an episode. I think 2020 when we came up for Hereditary, went to Kansas City, which I guess technically is Missouri.
Yeah, but we drove through Kansas.
Yeah, we drove through Kansas. I guess our last true Kansas episode was probably 2019 when we did Return to Oz.
Yeah.
We've covered both the Oz movies, 2 different locations and museums up here in Kansas. But yeah, so it's been a good 5 years or so since we really had a Kansas episode.
But I definitely enjoy the drive up to Kansas. It's very smooth and less traffic than when we travel south and we're heading to Texas. We also don't have as many kind of like rough truck riding Texas assholes. I'm sorry, guys, but they just drive different in Texas.
And we can also get off the main highway. It runs parallel to I-35, this 81. And so you just get a little less traffic. It's a little bit more scenic. You see, flat-ass Kansas better.
Flat-ass.
I mean, we're from Oklahoma. We're not much
hillier.
Yeah,
the plains is down there, too. Okay, yeah, so we saw our little troll, and then...
He was nice to us. He's a nice troll.
Yeah, he didn't, hurt us or do anything mean to us, and then... After we got back in the car and warmed up a bit, we decided let's go find a bookstore. Found a cute bookstore, Watermark Books and Cafe. Very fun, inclusive feeling, very welcoming. Literally books are everywhere, but when you walked in, it smelled like a cafe and paper.
And they had everything sectioned off really nice. They had a lot of not customized books, but not just your average books. They had a lot of bestsellers, but more curated, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Their sections were very curated very well. A lot of neat, interesting books to
And
look
a lot
at.
of subgenres.
And honestly, when in doubt, that's what we do. We look up a bookstore when we're in a town, don't know what else to do. So
It can honestly give me a vibe of the place itself. Like, what do people like to read about? Like, what topics are they most interested in? And when I walked in there, I just thought, like, oh, this is like my vibe. This is a good bookstore. Lots of plant things. I love any book that's going to have plants or cats on it.
yeah. And we knew coming up here on a Sunday there wasn't going to be a lot open. You know, we're in the Bible Belt. Same in Oklahoma. A lot of things shut down on a Sunday. So
Yeah,
we
if
did
it's
like
not
the
a-
fun things we could. It was all about, just jaunting up here, having some good eats, going to a shop, seeing a troll. We accomplished all that.
We did all those things. It's basically like if it's not a restaurant or a pub or something to that effect, it might be closed.
But
on a
Wichita
Sunday.
seemed to be really growing. I haven't spent really any time up here, but from what you could tell, like, it seemed like a modern little city. Like, they have, I'm sure on a typical weekend, or especially like in the summers, probably a lot to do. More to do than like on a winter and on a Sunday.
Yeah, everyone's hunkered down. They're hibernating for the winter time. We did stop off and have a delicious breakfast at their kind of like most well-known diner. It's voted like best of in Kansas and has even made like a best of list of the Midwest. But Doodah Diner, we had ourselves some yummy, delicious breakfast treats. Josh, tell them about your food.
Yeah, well, first I was going to say we found out about it through TikTok, which for us sometimes is the best resource when trying to find like food and things. We'll like TikTok figure it out. It's better than like Yelp. Sometimes Yelp will throw in like a Chili's or, it's like, no, we don't want to go to Chili's in
Right.
Wichita.
That's
What-
what we're...
Yeah, we want the local flavor. So we
want
found
the
out about
feel.
this on TikTok. Someone had done like a big food challenge here, but we had a loaded breakfast burrito with like chorizo and jalapeno bacon inside, gravy and cheese on top.
Ugh.
Then we split all this.
Yes.
Then we got the country fried steak with a big, that biscuit was so good.
Oh, it was a homemade biscuit that we poured more of the sausage
Yeah.
gravy on.
And also had some jam with part of it.
Mhm. And then we had
2 eggs over medium that were so good.
And then the pecan waffle, like that was muy delicioso, and it had these like candied kind of
Yes.
pecan clusters on top with just butter and whip and syrup and just
It was really good.
deliciousness. We did, so we got 3 things and split them, and my tummy, I'm wearing the wrong kind of pants because I can't just unbutton them. They side zip.
Yeah, I'm stuffed. We
But-
just finished eating about 20 minutes ago, so we're kind of in a food coma. I hope we sound like we have some energy, because
Well,
right
we
now
had
I'm like,
fun.
oh yeah, we had a great little morning into the afternoon. We're heading back now. Just a little Sunday fun day in Wichita.
Just got a little sugar coma right now.
Yeah, a little
Sorry.
sugar food coma.
I'm a sugar food coma. Well, let's get into the movie, and we can share our fave scenes and our knife ratings.
You go first. I feel like I've been
Okay.
going first with fave scenes.
Okay,
lately.
yeah, fave scene for me. I think I'm gonna choose my fave scene is going to be Wendy and Mr. Dickinson,
Yeah.
and I love that. Just from the get-go, her coming in and then playing their kind of hide and seek. If anything, it's like the chase scene, if I could say, we get here, is just around this apartment, and then kind of wrestling around. And I like that sequence, that time-lapse kind of sequence of the practical effects, that chrysalis and the kind of him his face disintegrating but just absolving, or I don't really know, it's making it green, but he was like crumbling from within.
Yeah, he's like coming out of the shell, coming out of the
It's-
chrysalis.
It's a really cool effect, and I dug it. Plus, Sonny Bono, he did do a good job of making himself kind of like just a greasy guy.
Slimy,
yeah.
scuzzy.
So that one, and because I wasn't rooting for Mr. Dickinson, so it made it fun to see it all play out and see all those effects happen. And also we got like a really good look at Troll Torok.
Mhm.
And I really think that the Wendy character, I need to look up her name, that actress, but I think she was a pretty good little child actor.
She's
Little Carol
funny.
Ann, not Carol Ann.
She's funny. Her line deliveries and stuff are pretty funny, especially like the rock burger. Anytime she's kind of going feral, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Red Vegas!
That scene does kind of have some of the best special effects of the movie with, like, you know, the makeup effects going to the chrysalis. You get that 80s, you know, like bladder effects where the skin looks like it's moving and undulating. And
Oh,
then he
undulating.
turns into the chrysalis, then cracks open. And yeah, that's probably one of the best moments in the movie.
What do you think? What do you think? And what's your fave scene?
You know, I was probably going to say that too because it is the most obvious. Obviously, best scene, you know, it has the best moment, but since you already picked it, I'll go. I kind of like when Eunice turns into the daughter at the end and kind of grabs her sword, is going to go fight. You know, she's going through the forest, and there's kind of that chasing element. Turok, she's fighting. Like, I just like all the stuff with Eunice at the end, I guess.
It is really fun once it gets just kind of in the magical realm of everything. We're not too much in the, like, misbelief, you know, the parents, like, what's going on, you know, all that back and forth. We're in the magical realm, and that's when the fun really happens. And we have our scary giant bat-winged thing and all the goblins. It starts to, like we had mentioned before, kind of remind me of the Never-Ending Story, Labyrinth,
Especially
those
with the
fairy
Treyu
tale-
in
yeah.
it.
Um,
I will say that's maybe, as much as I like this movie, on repeat viewings, it becomes a little of like, okay, you get a weird slice of life scene at home where the sister and brother are kind of annoying each other. Then it's her going and, you know, turning someone into a cocoon. Back to home. Back to her
So it's
turning
like a
someone.
little
It's just like kind of
procedural.
back and forth, back and forth. So I do like that change at the end when it
Mhm.
becomes, they really embrace the fantasy element. They're running around trying to save the apartment complex. And, you know, Eunice uses her witchcraft to turn into the younger
Young
version of
Eunice.
herself.
Yes. And she's so fiery and feisty and
Yeah.
ready to take on Turok. She's not going to let him hurt Harry. Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter. She's got to save Harry Potter again, you know. It's not it's not, who's the bad guy in Harry Potter? Voldemort.
Uh-huh.
It's Turok
It's
in this one.
Turok, the troll.
And you had told me that the filmmakers tried to sue
Yes.
J.K.
yeah.
Rowling for use of the name and, like, you know,
The
the
story, just the idea that it was
fantasy
magical, and like in the first book, there's a troll, so they were like, yeah, you were stealing from us. We have a troll in our movie. She was like, no, I named my character Harry Potter after two people in my life and meshed their names together, so
yeah, basically the lawsuit went nowhere.
yeah. And now we just get to have two characters in our zeitgeist with Harry Potter, you know, and they're just completely different.
And you can use your imagination and make it one complete story. This is the sequel. Harry
Yes.
Potter is the prequel.
That is true. Well, now we're just going to make our way home, and
Oh, knife
so we
ratings.
need to
Oh, okay.
wrap this up and give them our knife ratings. What do you think, Josh? Do you want me to give my knife rating, or do you want
Sure,
to start
go
off?
first.
I have fun with this movie. I'm going to give it 2 knives.
I'll be more generous. I'm going 3. I was going to do 2.5, but just how fun it is. It's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's like over in no time. I'll give it an extra half a point for like the fun factor. It doesn't take itself serious at all. Honestly, it reminds me of like an extra long like Goosebumps episode.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though, you know what I mean? Like it really has that
Are you
like
afraid of the dark?
yeah, almost like an anthology feel. Like here's just a weird little story that
Mhm.
was dropped in our laps and
And we're telling it to you real quick. It even starts with like the castle and the book and the fairy, you know, like the fairy tale medieval times thing happening, and then it goes into real quote real life.
is it a great movie, a well-made movie? Not really, but it is what it is. It knows what it is. It's just having fun. It's silly, light, not scary. Maybe if you're a little kid, the troll, just the look of him might creep you out, but
Yeah.
it's just a fun little movie.
I don't think that it needs to at all be remade or retold.
And I think there is a 2022 version. I'm not sure if it's really a remake. You know, Charles Band, he's a famous producer, came up in the whole era of like Roger Corman, started his own company, but made lots of weird little movies. You know, the Puppet Master movies are produced by him also. But yeah, so he makes silly, fun,
Quirky.
little movies.
I love that we have Troll. I've enjoyed watching it, and we've watched it a few times now to get ready for this podcast. And I definitely think that, yeah, I mean, it has rewatchability, but we've watched it quite a few times in the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna shelve this one for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I don't need to watch it for a while, but
for years to
it's
come.
a lot of fun. If you want something goofy to put on in the background, like while you have friends over and you guys are just drinking and hanging out, watching a movie, like this is the perfect kind of movie for that.
Yeah, maybe it's your bad movie fun night with your
Yeah.
friends that you watch and enjoy. Be merry, have fun. Okay, so speaking of being merry and having fun with your friends, Josh, what do we have coming up next?
We have our annual cabin trip. We're going to Wichita or Broken Bow, Oklahoma. We go every year. If you guys have been listening, we typically cover like an Evil Dead movie or some kind of cabin in the woods type movie. This year we'll be doing Evil Dead Rise, and I know it only has the opening sequence at the cabin, but hey,
that's all that matters.
we need to finish the Evil Dead movies. We've
Yeah.
covered all the Evil Dead movies going to Wichita. We did Army of Darkness going to medieval times. And so, yeah, we're going to wrap it up. And then if the good Lord blesses us with any more Evil Dead movies, we'll do those.
We'll be so happy to do it.
We'll find more cabin movies to do someday. But yeah, our annual Wichita, I always look forward to this great weekend of just isolation, hot tubbing, hiking, you know, drinking.
We'll be there.
eating
It's a
food.
state park area, so we'll do some hiking, get some exercise in. We'll have our wonderful pizza that we always mention to you guys about. We'll have our hot tub, lots of drinking, lots of hot tub, and puzzle time. You guys, if you've listened before to our cabin episodes, you know we're going to have a blast and tell you all about it. So stay tuned.
Yeah, in the meantime, go to wherever you listen to us, please, and rate and review us. It really helps us out, especially if you give us that coveted 5-star. You can rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go give us a nice little review, a shout out. It really helps us. We appreciate it.
And we appreciate you. Love you guys. Take care. Be safe. Love one another. You know, all those cliche things that you say at the end of a podcast, but we genuinely mean them. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.